in detail to what's important. My name is Patricia Brewer, and I'm one of the committee members on the focus group for school safety in the Trenton area. We're very excited to be here on today, and we have a lot of, as you can see, very distinguished, handsome, and beautiful members of our junior ROTC. So as part of the beginning of the program, we're going to ask for everyone to stand as they come and they do their opening ceremony and do their flag presentation.
Mark time. Mark. Clear guard. Hold. Left. Face. Present. Arms. Order. Arms. Right. Face. Forward. March.
We'd like to thank them again, and you may have your seats. All right, so good morning, everyone. Welcome to our focus group on school safety, our community forum. We're here to discuss some of the threats to school safety and to explore research-informed perspectives for compiling data samplings of the students who attended some of our roundtables that were hosted between 2023 and 2024. So this involves Trenton public middle schools, the high school, grades 6 through 12, and we were going to give you just a little history on how that came about. So our focus group on school safety in Trenton Public Schools conducted student roundtables. The table discussions were held around topics of school safety. We had 30 students present at each of our roundtable that were selected by the school administration. And we had students from the 9th grade academy, also known as TANGA. That presentation was held on March 6, 2024. We had a students roundtable that was held at Trenton Central High School. That was on May 21st, 2024, and I apologize, I missed one. We also had a middle school forum, which was held on April the 23rd. So there were nearly 100 students that participated, giving their experiential feedback on school safety and issues that were near and dear and important to them. As you can see, our junior ROTC cadets from Trenton Public Schools served as facilitators within the discussion group, and our adult committee members served as note takers and recorders to get the information together. From there, a student survey was also used to collect additional data regarding student behavior in school environments and how it impacts growth and development. The analysis of this data is what we're here to discuss today. Our first presenter is going to be Kevin Davis, who is seated there to your left, PhD, independent evaluation and research consultant. And the analysis of the data from the 9th grade academy and Trenton Central High School is going to be presented by Dr. Bernard McMullen, PhD, independent evaluation and strategic planning consultant. So we'll have those back-to-back presentations. I'm just going to break from my script to let you know, you see here a QR code that Frank, our technologist, put up. If you're like me and you're a digital person and you want the order of the program and you didn't get a paper form, you can scan in and it'll load up the program for today. So that's why that QR code is there. After the presentation of the data, we are going to have perspectives and some testimonials from some select students. They're going to be here to tell you about their experience. It's one thing to see data, it's another thing to hear it from the students themselves. So that'll be quite enriching, and we're grateful that they're brave enough to share their information in this public setting. And then there'll be a Q&A session. We'll take some questions. We are going to limit it to the data, the feedback from the students and things that were here today. That way we can have a conversation that's contained and that's relevant to the discussion at hand. Also, we have a handout, so we're going to be presenting that. If there are issues at school, or you have a problem, or there's bullying, or any type of concerns, we want something actionable that we're handing out to the parents, that you have something to take away to give you additional guidance. We believe that the seeds of success is planted at home. Parents are needed to read, to discuss the issues with their children. We definitely encourage those discussions around the table or however you do it with your family, because we need all hands on deck and we need to operate as a community. Again, we want to thank our sponsors of today's event, which is our focus group on school safety in Trenton Public Schools, the Assembly of God Church, our Mercer County Community VIP College and Career Prep Program, our community stakeholders in public schools education, and the Trenton chapter of the Concerned Pastors. Also, a very special thank you to Pastor Jose Rodriguez, the Assembly of God Church here as our host. This beautiful space that we have, we thank you for welcoming us. Also, a special thank you to Frank Hernandez, who is going to be our language interpreter for the later portion of the Q&A, and Ray Ingram, who is the corresponding secretary for the Trenton Council on Civic Associations, who is doing our videography today. Also, we have several dignitaries in the audience, and they took time out, so we want to take time to acknowledge them being here. These are our children, but they also came out to support on this Saturday morning. Acknowledgements to Dr. James Earl, who is the superintendent of the Trenton Public Schools District. Also here is Jenny Wheatley from the Trenton School Boards. Gerard Trueheart is going to be here, and also Yolanda Moreno Lopez, who is the school board president, is here. And last but certainly not least, our city councilwoman, Yasmili Gonzalez, is here. So we do thank you for taking time out and to be here to hear of our concerns. So that's it for me for the preamble. I'm going to hand this off to Kevin Davis, and afterwards, Dr. McMillan will do his presentation.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Dr. Kevin Davis. I am a social science researcher that study issues on public health and public education. I am an adjunct professor of public policy at Delaware Valley University. And by the way, I am a proud graduate of Parker Elementary School, Grace Dunn Middle School, and Trenton Central High School. I am a supporter of public education here. So I'm going to talk about the assessment of Trenton Middle School students on school safety. And so this is their perception of their reality. So this is how they feel, and perception is reality. So these are the schools, Trenton Middle Schools from grade 6 through 8. We had Dunn, Grant, Hedgepath, Williams, Holland, Jefferson, King, Kilmer, and Parker School. I know it's called something different, but it's always been Parker Elementary to me. So what we did, we had in this group, this roundtable discussion that we had with the middle school, we first had a roundtable discussion. There were actually 33 participants, in the discussion. Then we gave them a survey questionnaire to fill out, and 28 of those 33 individuals responded to the survey questionnaire. So these are the 4 questions that when we was in our discussion. These are the 4 questions that we talked about that drove our discussion. Do you feel safe going to school? List reasons as to why students who attend the same school with students from other schools in the district don't get along. Students may feel that adults at school do not listen or cannot understand what they're going through before, during, and after school. What can the staff members do to make students feel like they are being heard? What type of programs or activities can the school offer to bridge any gap between student and staff? And then finally, when you're attending school and you have a problem or question regarding assignment or an incident, which office or person of the, after school can you go to for assistance? So it gives us a broad scope of what the student may deal with periodically. So what I just did, I just listed some of the responses that the student had on these 4 questions. And so one of them was, and I would say this too, preface is that how students felt really depend on the administration of the school. And so I wanted to just let you know that administrators and teachers do make a difference in if the students feel safe or not. Because we had students from different schools, we saw a range of responses. And the schools where they felt that their administrator and their teachers were for them, they had a more positive outlook on their safety. So this is one of the responses. We're not going to tell which school said what, but the principal and the security guards are helpful. Great staff, but this is the thing that got me. The change of leadership from last year to this year has made it a better school. And so one of the schools, they had change of administration. Students were there for more than 1 year, and they felt the impact of a different administration coming into this school and making this school a lot more positive. I actually questioned them because they had a very rosy picture of this school, and I was wondering how come this looked different from what the other students are saying. And this is the reason why. So they understand that there's issues in the school, but they also had the experience of having a leader to come in to make positive changes, and they felt that almost immediately. Another response was, I do not feel safe, and the security guards are not protective. They even encourage students to fight after school. This is their perspective, so we're not going to challenge what they feel. This is the way they feel. And so this is very different from the first couple of responses, right? Where in the school they felt that the grown-ups, right, did not have their best interest at heart. Sometimes, but if I walk home by myself, I don't, so they feel good. But getting from school to home, there's the issue. And we have problems in our neighborhood. Sometimes it may not be the school, it might be the neighborhood. And getting from home to school and from school to home can be an issue for some of our students. May not be every day, but we only need something to go wrong only one time. The second question says, let's reasons as to why students who attend the same school, right, or a different school, how come they don't get it along with each other? And do you see students bullying each other? So one of the things that we defend each other. Not a lot of bullying going on. The counselors and teachers are helpful. And once again, this is coming from that school that had leadership that supported the students. And so they felt safety. They felt that they was in a good environment. There's more cyberbullying and anonymous bullying than physical bullying. right? So we live in a different age, right? When I was in school, someone, had to bother you. But now, through technology, right, with our children are on social media, they felt that that's where most of the bullying was coming from. How do, as a district, as a principal, how do we control that? How do we make this better? I'm not going to offer any answers. I just want to help start the conversation. And then parents' behavior carry over to their children. So we have seen that it's been reported in the paper how some parents go up to the school and show off. As a student at Parker School in Junior 4, Grace Middle School, I never liked bringing my parents, because my parents would take care of it right then and there. So, had a decency to take care of it at home, and I'd act better at school. But they realized that, not every parent is going to be the same, right? And we have to realize that too. What our children are getting at home is not always going to be equal. And so we need to take that into consideration. We need to take that into account. But they realize that parents come up there and the parents can actually be in trouble. And then sometimes there's issues of jealousy that goes on. Maybe some children have more than others. And so, one of those things that we try to do to mitigate that is to issue, uniforms. You got to wear the shoes, you got to wear and everybody having the same uniform, so maybe it won't be as much jealousy. But this is how the students are perceiving it. Then if the older students come out during the recess and bully the younger kids. So this must be, and so this can be an experience, right? That we have to train, and I appreciate the cadets here, and I appreciate the first sergeant here, because I'm just looking, when they came in, they had one of the leaders then talk to the other ones, and I say, and they give them opportunity as a student to fill that leadership role, to know what leadership is. That somebody on, when the teacher's on around, when the administrator's on around, somebody in that schoolyard got to tell these other kids, these older ones, hey, that is not correct. And we're going to hold each other accountable for our own behavior. Students may feel that the adults at the school do not listen to them. Y'all be ready, so we just going to go with the responses. This one hurts. My older brother was feeling suicidal and confided to a counselor who went off on him for being weak and told him to grow up. Now that one, as a parent, as a citizen of Trenton, this one has to hurt, right? That when our children are hurting, when they're reaching out, and the response isn't what it should be. Right. This should hurt. Right. Once again, this is them telling us, and we're just reporting to you what they said to us. School staff need to have a private session with the bad kids. Right? So they're recognizing everybody here isn't bad. Right? They need to be more proactive. They need to come up with programs that can deal with the situation in the school, and that it may be having a negative impact on learning as a whole. But they realize it's not everybody. It can only take a small group of students that can upset the whole school day. And then to use therapists or counselors. So they realize that maybe the school, and this is the thing about this, they're realizing my teacher, my principal cannot be everything. But we would need then the school district to bring in some trained professionals to help us deal with whatever's going on in our life. I know it costs money. I know sometimes we want to say the resources aren't there, but they're saying we need help. Right? It might be in the family, the help, they might need problems coming to school or going from school, or the issue might be happening at school. It can be any intersection of their lives, but they're saying they can have an impact on our education. And we need somebody, right, to provide resources, or we need more resources than is being provided at this moment. School personnel need to stop talking and listen to what the kids are saying to really hear their point. So they feel like they're not being heard. And I have a problem when, you know, I feel like I'm not being heard. Right? So they understand when you're passively listening or not. When you're just placating them. They understand that. And then you want to talk without hearing what my problem is. You haven't heard what I said. You're talking, but you haven't heard what I said. And have programs to talk about our day or week. You know, let's sit down, let's talk about this thing. We want to be in partnership with the teachers and the principals in the district. Let us come together, sit down. We want y'all to ask us how our day, right? How our week went. How you doing? You remember Mayor Ed Koch, former mayor of New York City? That was his favorite line, how I'm doing, right? What's going on? How can we make your life better? And then school personnel don't know what's happening in our lives and don't care. That's another sad one, right? We should never want to project that we don't care. But this is how they're feeling. Now they might have more in one school than the other, but this is the conversation that the students had with us. They felt like you don't know us. Or they felt like that you're not listening or that you don't care about our lives. And our lives have to be more than just these 6 hours or 7 hours that we're of the school day. Question number 4. So, you know, while you're attending school and you have a problem, what do? So either social problem or assignment problem, social programs and group counseling. This is what we can have. Teachers, principals, and security guards, the folks that we go to. Once again, this is the school. This came from students who came from a school that they felt that the principal, that the teachers, the adults in the room were actually listening to them, actually cared about them. They realized that these are people that when they have a problem, who they can go to. And so you will hopefully that would happen, that I have a problem, I'm going to go to the adult in the room. And that the adult in the room is then going to listen, they're going to help me work through my problems. But once again, it's not everybody. So some people say they can go to their parents. This is a comical one. Go to the nurse. They say that they're sick so they can avoid the issue. Right? You know? Right? So you know, they got workarounds. So if the adults in the room aren't going to work it for them, they got a workaround. At least this one person had a workaround. I'm going to feign sickness. I'm going to go to the school nurse. Whoever's bothering me, whatever issue going on in class, whatever issue going on in school, I'm just going to chill in the nurse's office and then go home. Person said, handle issue on my own. I'm an A student. There's some folks that's going to succeed no matter what we do. There's some folks that's not going to succeed no matter what we do. This is one of the people who felt that I can do it, right? I can handle my own issue. I can do it by myself. If I don't need an adult to step in, right? And so they know how to do some mitigation of their problems. But if I do need an adult, I would bring them in. But if I don't need them, I'm able to work out. So maybe this is one of those leaders out in the field, leaders in the school, leaders in the lunchroom, leaders at gym, that student leader, right? With no credentials, but know how to talk to the other students and can then hopefully intercede on some issue where it doesn't rise to where we need to bring adults in. And this one said, not my guidance counselor, right? So they know who not to go to. Now, as important as who to go to, they're already formed in their mind who not to go to. So that then becomes an issue. So I believe that takes care of our roundtable discussion. So when we then submitted a survey, we just want to see the conversation that they have with us, does it link up to if we give them a survey? We're not there asking them and talking to them, going back and forth. Then what would they say if they had privately can mark something down? So, so we asked them a question, how well do you know your teachers? And so, extremely well, well, somewhat, or not well at all. So we can see here, most of the students say they know their teachers somewhat, right? A good proportion say they know them extremely well, and well, 11% of them say we don't know them well at all. So there's a mixture here. There's some communication, there's some interaction, but in this we take out of that students are looking for more. They recognize that there can be some disconnect between how well I know my teacher. And then, then the other question is, do you feel that your teacher know who you are? 43% of them said extremely well or very well, but also 43% said somewhat. And then the other ones, not so well and not well at all. And so once again, they feel, right, that their teacher knows them somewhat. They got a handle on something, but that might be, and a lot of times what we're really working with in the school district, we're working with the 80%. But there's 10% at one end, there's 10% at the other end that can get left behind. Next question, is your classroom overcrowded with students? Surprisingly, half of them said not so crowded. And we talk about this issue all the time, about how many students are in the class and how that have an impact on the learning process throughout the day. But they may not necessarily feel that it's issue. So as you said, but 71% of the students do feel that either really that it's not overcrowded. We think it is, but if they can learn, they're okay. So they are able to adapt to situations that may not be perfect, right? So we won't let the perfect get in the way of the good. And so sometimes we might be focusing on, as adults, the wrong issue. So this isn't a problem as much as their safety. We can deal with the overcrowding. If I'm safe, I'm good. How safe do you feel in the school? Once again, most of this is somewhat, so they're right in the middle. They're in the middle somewhere about feeling safe. I am, though, concerned about not safe at all, that 4%, right? Because we're looking at this small segment of the population. But if we can extrapolate that out to all of the middle school students, 4% of the students not feeling safe is a significant amount of students. In public health, if we get an issue that rises 2%, we get almost declared a national emergency. But we won't do it for our schools. How well do the students get along? So most, here once again is somewhat, we're going to have our issue. We're preteens, we're teens, we're going to have our issue. Most days it's okay, but every once in a while, certain things go off the rail. We understand that. So we would expect it to be more like that. We're not going to expect everything going to be rosy, nor will we expect that everything is going to be dismal. It's always going to be somewhere in the middle, and this really indicates here that it's somewhere in the middle. There's a bunch of kids running around, trying to figure out who they are, about ready to go through puberty, maturing, the whole issue. And as they're trying to figure themselves out, they're trying to figure out people around them. So we should be okay with just this, because it tells us what we are, pretty much what we would already have suspected. 21% of the respondents, though, feel that the students do not get along. So once again, we're worried about those folks that's somewhat outliers, right? If you're not getting along, then why? So that would be a follow-up question. Well, why would you say we are not getting along? Why would you, or you're not getting along, or why are people getting along with you? And they can be a migrant issue. They may be small. They may be large. But we would want to know why. How do you feel about yourself? And once again, I should have put on here that the first side is just the count of the 28, and the other side is percentages. I should have had frequency and percentage here. I forgot to put it on here. But, so, once again, we're going to go not so well, right? Because that's that issue that we really need to deal with. We need to deal with the folks who are struggling with how they feel about themselves. right? And once again, that represents 14, of the sample population, represents 14% of the population. And once again, if we were to extrapolate that out to the whole population of our middle school students, that represents a significant amount. And I would say, because I do research on HIV and how they, people with HIV, how they feel about themselves, this is significantly higher than that. So I just highlighted that. So in the discussion though, right, so this is what I would, why do 14% of the respondents have a low opinion of themselves, right? Is it internal stigma, right? They just feel bad about themselves because they may not be in the right neighborhood, there might be issues in their home, they're struggling in school academically, or is it external stigma? People are, they hate coming to school because people are always picking on them, right? I gotta run through a gauntlet just to get to school. So we should really want to know, right, drill down, right? Some folks say politically, drill baby drill. This is what we really should be drilling about, right? About how our children are feeling about ourselves, because this here is when we get into not only the stigma issue. There's a correlation between stigma and depression. There's a correlation between depression and suicidal idolatry, thinking about suicide. So this is an issue here. And then the other question is that, what role do teachers and staff play in creating a feeling, right, their perspective of a safe school environment, right? And then I really probably could have put on that community too, right? Because community has a role in this also. Right? I was going home one day and it was in front of a charter school. I seen 3 guys jumping on one. Community had to stop his car and get out and said, we ain't gonna let this happen. Now, you wanna fight them by yourself, but we ain't gonna let it be you jumping. And then the 3 guys walked away. And so community, right? Community has a role in this too. So we need to think about it. We need to think about the stigma, right? They're feeling, it's an internal, external. We need to drill down on that, and then we need to think about the role that we can play, right? We, inclusive, right? Universal we, that we can play to give our children a sense of feeling safe in their schools. So there are some limitations on this. School selection bias bill, we didn't control what student came. I mean, theoretically, the principal could have sent all her best students, or say, you know what, all these troublemakers, I'm gonna get them out of school for a little while. Y'all go ahead, we're gonna have a good day. We're gonna have we don't know. So we can't make any predictions on beyond these students. We can tell you what these students feel, but we can't say it's indicative of all the middle school students. So that's going to be an issue. And so, and then the study should be only viewed anecdotally, right? This is someone telling their experience, right? And as I say, so there's no predictive, it's not representative of the whole student body or the whole population. But what it does do, it leads us into larger conversation. And I'm hoping that what we can have, what comes from this, that we begin to have a larger conversation. Community, principals, administrators. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Bernard McMullen, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself.
Buenos días, es el señor Bernard McMullen. Él le va a contar de él.
I have, my work is to evaluate social service and educational programs around the country.
El trabajo de él es evaluar los programas sociales y educación en todo el país.
So I do that on behalf of large national and regional foundations But as it turns out, I live here in Trenton.
Y algo eso por todas las instituciones nacionales y regionales, pero él vive aquí en Trenton
For 42 years.
por 42 años ya.
So I had the opportunity and the honor of serving on the school board in the early 2000s, not the early 1900s.
Él estaba en la administrativa de la administración escolar en los años anteriores del 2000.
And those are the great years of the building period, when we expanded many new buildings, opened up new buildings and things like that. It was a great time to be on the school board, with also some interesting challenges.
Y ese era un momento donde construimos bastantes edificios, así que fue un tiempo muy interesante para estar en la administrativa escolar, junto con eso otros retos.
I have 3 children who graduated proudly from Trenton Public Schools. One from West Campus, one from Daylight Twilight, and one from Trenton Central High School. And I'll mention that my daughter who graduated from Trenton High School did that when Mr. Earl had just come as principal at that school.
Él tiene los 3 hijos que se graduaron de escuelas escolares en el sistema de educación de Trenton, y ellos se graduaron cuando el señor Earl era principal de la escuela de la Trenton High principal.
And they're all doing quite well, thank you.
Y ellos le va bien, gracias.
So, I am very active in Trenton. You may have seen my face. I serve on the board of the cemetery that's right down the street called Mercer Cemetery. I serve as ongoing president because I need to have an election, so I'm no longer the president of the Trenton Council of Civic Associations. I'm well over my due date. I serve as a board member of the Trenton Cycling Revolution, and you may know me most recently because this week I have been coordinating for the too many times, maybe the 8th time, the Taste Trenton, a restaurant crawl here in the city.
Él sirve en bastantes administrativas en la ciudad de Trenton, así que él es bien reconocido aquí en la ciudad. Como lo notan más notablemente, él sirvió en una administrativa donde hacen pruebas de comida.
So, now to my presentation. I want to thank Ms. Kersey, who I had the honor of serving on the school board many years ago, inviting me. My job in this position was simply to look at the transcripts that were taken of the conversations with 9th grade academy and Trenton Central High School students. I wasn't at the sessions, I didn't take the notes, I didn't write the questions, which is great, meaning that I didn't have to worry about, oh, could I have done that differently? I had the data in front of me to present, to organize, to make sense of.
El trabajo de él era de analizar diferentes puntos de estudios entre los estudiantes de 9º y 10º grado. Ese era el trabajo de él cuando sirvió en la administrativa de la educación de Trenton con la señora Kersey.
So, here was the approach. 30 students enrolled at 9th grade academy and 30 students from the Trenton Central High School voluntarily, perhaps, participated in these sessions. As you already heard, they occurred in this past spring term. They were facilitated either by members of peers from ROTC, junior ROTC, or some of the senior leaders. And the adults took notes and kept track of what was going on. And that's what's the evidence base of what I'm working with.
El estudio era de 30 estudiantes que estudiaban en la escuela 9th Grade Academy, y eran 30 estudiantes también de la escuela Trenton Central High School, y ellos participaron voluntariamente hace unos meses en este año 2024, y las discusiones fueron facilitadas por estudiantes y adultos voluntarios. Hubo unos adultos voluntarios que tomaron notas de las discusiones, y las notas tomadas por los adultos voluntarios fue formado como evidencia que fue usado en este resumen.
Now, many of the things you hear me say about what I've observed or what I've read are going to mirror very closely what Dr. Davis has just presented.
Tal vez las cosas que nosotros vamos a hablar ahorita van a ser bastante similar a lo que el señor Dr. Davis habló.
So what were the general questions? School safety policies and drills and emergencies, school safety teams and their role, safe places in school and elsewhere, safety and bullying, strategies and coping, and ways for students to be involved in school safety.
Los temas de discusión fueron las pólizas de seguridad y cómo responder a una emergencia, la seguridad y sus trabajos, lugares seguros en la escuela y en otros lados, la seguridad en el bullying y estrategias para trabajar en eso y maneras como los estudiantes pueden estar involucrados en la seguridad de la escuela.
So, what's the context here? Let's be real out front. Trenton Public Schools have experienced incidents of in-school and out-of-school violence that have been publicly reported in the local press and on social media. Of particular and appropriate concern, violent altercations and ganging up on individuals, staff involvement in fights, parent involvement in fights, and goading further violence. These incidents have become sort of a touchstone, if you will, within Trenton as evidence that schools are unsafe, unruly, barely keeping the lid on. Students begin and enter school each day with a sense that something might happen. That's the perceived context.
Las escuelas de Trenton públicas han experimentado con unos incidentes adentro y afuera de la escuela que han sido reportadas públicamente en la noticia local, en la media social, y hay unas cosas que son de nota particular y es cuando hay altercaciones violentas y con individuos y cuando hay peleas con la administrativa y cuando los padres también están involucrados en peleas y insinúan la violencia más allá. Los incidentes han sido un tema de discusión entre la ciudad de Trenton y es evidencia que las escuelas no están seguras. Los estudiantes empiezan a ir a la escuela todos los días con el pensamiento que algo va a pasar.
So, let's talk about context, and remember, we're talking about youth here, and we're talking about students. Ninth graders are at an age when they are finding their voice on matters and issues that surround them. Now, it is also true for middle school students. Students in upper grades have matured somewhat. There is a very distinct process that we see between middle school, ninth grade, and later grades. And they see things, older students see things a little bit differently. Older youth are more likely to recognize that being deliberate in avoiding problems is perhaps the best coping strategy, and older students, also somewhat sadly, are less convinced that conditions related to safety will actually change and may, as a result, show less interest in becoming involved.
A los estudiantes del noveno grado están en la edad donde están encontrando su voz en bastantes problemas que están a su alrededor. Los estudiantes que están en los grados más altos y son más maduros pueden ver las diferentes posibilidades. A los estudiantes más mayores pueden reconocer cuando hay problemas y es importante y algo importante para saber. Los estudiantes más grandes son menos convencidos a las condiciones que tienen que ver con la seguridad y ellos están más dispuestos para cambiar o hacer un mejor trabajo y tal vez van a enseñar un poco más de interés en tratar de cambiar las condiciones.
Now, that's where we begin. We, particularly among ninth graders and other students, we ask them, what are your perceptions about safety planning in your school? Well, they are able to name a lot of things. Clear backpacks, metal detectors, emergency drills, pat-downs, cameras. And then also went on to other things, interestingly, said things like our dress code, as you mentioned. Not wearing, I should say here, belly tops, prohibition against hoodies, no open drinks in the building, no coffee, no open cold shoes. They're very specific about saying, oh, they are doing these things in order to enhance safety in our school. Very perceptive.
Cuando le preguntaron a los estudiantes cuáles son los planes que están en las escuelas para poder hacer la seguridad en las escuelas mejor, ellos dijeron que hay detectores de metal, hay cámaras, hay mochilas claras, hay programas de emergencia y también ellos contaron otras cosas como el vestimiento, ponerse las camisas que enseñan los ombligos, no dejar los suéteres con gorra en las escuelas y no café y no zapatos que enseñan los dedos y no bebidas abiertas en los edificios.
In fact, one of the side points is they also noted those things and said, I'm somewhat grumpy that they don't enforce them all the time.
Y ellos notaron también que ellos estaban enojados que no siempre son esforzados.
They recognize the importance of drills and emergency training. They see them as important for their personal safety. They don't think they happen often enough. They know that we do fire drills, but they're not as sanguine about saying, oh, we did all these other types of drills as well. Well, they think they're important and actually are able to articulate what you should do in those instances. Move away from the doors, stay away from the windows, go to a safe place, lock the doors. They know the routine. So.
Hay otros ejercicios de emergencia en entrenamiento que los estudiantes reconocen que tienen importancia a su seguridad personal. La mayoría de los estudiantes dicen que los ejercicios de emergencia no pasan lo suficiente y que dicen que si no hay suficientes ejercicios de emergencia de fuegos y otras cosas de ejercicios como estar en un lugar cuando hay una amenaza de bomba o cuando hay alguien disparando. Ellos dicen que esos ejercicios de emergencia casi no pasan. Los estudiantes también dijeron que las guianzas primarias cuando uno está actuando en una emergencia es para seguir las direcciones de unos maestros, mantener el silencio y cerrar las ventanas y siempre ir a la salida más cercana y también tomar acciones para protegerse uno mismo.
Now, when we ask you, what do you think about the safety team? What I read in the comments is that they narrowly define safety team. It's primarily referring to the safety guards, security guards, and street patrols outside. The 6 security guards, here's a quote, 6 security guards make up the safety team so nobody gets hurt. We need more than just one person, the other one added. If it's a lockdown, only one officer can't protect us. If him and the intruder, if he gets shot, then what? Without an officer, with only just one officer, we're just on our own. Our school safety team should be more inside the school, not just outside.
Los comentarios que fueron revelados sobre el equipo de seguridad es definido por los estudiantes por referir ellos refieren a los guardias de seguridad y los que están asegurando las calles afuera de la escuela. Ellos dicen que hay 6 seguridades que están en el equipo de seguridad para que nadie se haga daño. Ellos dicen también que necesitan más de una persona si hay un momento donde tienen que estar encerrados o solo un oficial no los puede proteger si solo hay un oficial y un intruso. Si el oficial es disparado, estamos sin un oficial y estamos solos, dicen. El equipo de nuestra seguridad de la escuela necesita estar más adentro de la escuela y no solo afuera, dicen.
Now, there are other people who students name as being on the safety or security team, including the security guards, but counselors, police officers, crossing guards, Miss E at the 9th grade academy. Majors is good, also at 9th grade academy. Janitors and lunch people, probably not, but perhaps. And then street teams.
Hay otros miembros de la seguridad que los estudiantes tienen un entendimiento que son parte del equipo de seguridad, como la guardia de seguridad, los consejeros, los oficiales de policía, los que cruzan a los estudiantes, la señora I y la señora que están en la academia noveno grado, el señor Majors también, y también los que limpian y los que distribuyen la comida también. Ellos dicen que no son parte del equipo de seguridad, pero consideran que pueden formar parte, y también los equipos de la calle.
They also question the efficacy of our security plans. Things happen in secret due to not enough security staff. This is a complaint about you have a security thing, but you're missing. You have a security plan, but you're missing things. We need to have an assembly to at least explain what is going on. We need more security guards. There are fights in the bathroom. In corner upstairs are not always covered. No, there's not really a security plan because no one's really watching us. Teachers are just telling us, just go to class. Ignore that fight. Close your eyes. We need more drills because we will be clueless where to go.
Una de las preguntas y quejas de la eficacia de los planes de seguridad de los estudiantes es que no hay suficiente, es que hay cosas que pasan en secreto y no hay suficiente guardias de seguridad. Necesitan tener una reunión, dicen, donde explican lo que está pasando. Ellos también se quejan que necesitan más guardias de seguridad, que hay peleas en el baño y que hay esquinas donde hay arriba donde no están cubiertas por seguridad. También otras quejas son que nadie nos está viendo. También otra queja es que las maestras les están diciendo a ellos nada más que solo vayan a la clase, y ellos dicen también que necesitan más entrenamientos porque ellos no tienen ninguna idea dónde ir cuando hay emergencia.
people talk about security outside the school, particularly at Trenton Central High School. They said that the street teams that were very visible at the start of the school year were less so as the school year ended. People would like to see more of a visible presence of police at the end of the school day, with attention being given to unsafe driving on the streets around the campus. And those of us who have been on Chambers Street, we know that sometimes it's a little unsafe out there, or on Greenwood or Hamilton. We hope that the officers could be discouraged from using McDonald's as the place where they observe the end of the school day. So there's some waggishness going in there.
Los equipos de seguridad, particularmente en la escuela de la Trenton High principal, los equipos de la calle dicen que son bien visibles en el principio del año, pero no tanto al final del año. Ellos quieren ver más visibilidad, más presencia de policía al final del día escolar, con atención dada a los lugares donde corren peligro cuando están manejando en las calles que están alrededor de la escuela, por ejemplo, como la calle Chambers y Greenwood. Ellos también esperan que los oficiales estén empujados hacia la otra dirección de usar el McDonald's como un lugar donde ellos observan al final del día.
Now, the student perspective of security teams at the 9th grade academy show some concerns. Now remember, this is the time when youth see the differences between what the plan is and what the reality is, and are very willing to call out hypocrisy when they see it. Our security aren't the best. Two security guards were about to see us fight a student. A grown woman was yelling and about to have an altercation with them. They're unprofessional and untrained. They act like us, arguing with students. Security sometimes add on to the girl drama by taking sides. Security sometimes are trying to fight the students. Security also lie for students, particularly by handing out fake passes or saying it's not a problem. Security will be talking bad things about people and not paying attention to us. Students let security know when there's going to be a fight, and then they give them 10 minutes to fight before breaking it up.
Una de las perspectivas del equipo de seguridad de la escuela de 9º grado, de los estudiantes, una de las quejas que dan es que la seguridad no son los mejores. Habían dos guardias de seguridad que querían pelear a un estudiante, y había una señora que ya era mayor que estaba a punto de tener una pelea. Ellos también dicen que la seguridad no son profesionales y no están entrenados. También dicen que ellos actúan como ellos y ellos pelean con los estudiantes, y que la seguridad tiene ellos regularmente añaden a lo que es el drama a las niñas también, y ellos escogen los lados. También dicen que a veces la seguridad tiene peleas con los estudiantes. La seguridad también a veces miente por los estudiantes y les da pases de mentira. También la seguridad habla cosas de las otras personas y no están realmente poniéndole atención a los estudiantes. Los estudiantes en unas ocasiones le dicen a la seguridad cuando ellos van a tener una pelea, y la seguridad les dan 10 minutos para pelear antes de ir a separar a los estudiantes.
At the high school, their personnel are named as part of those who had a sense of security, but there are caveats. Security staff are seen by students as essential for securing the building. Their role, however, is often perceived as mostly breaking up fights and checking backpacks. They are perceived as readily and easily losing patience. Security are sometimes perceived as being overly aggressive and contributing to tension and problems. Students call out security staff for being respectful and cursing frequently, and there's a perception that security staff treat troublemakers, i.e. the bad kids, nicer to help keep them under control. And they see that as unfair. They're doing their job of being a good student and behaving well, but the other person is getting the bennies.
Otros comentarios de los estudiantes es que los seguridad están vistos como esenciales para darle seguridad al edificio, pero el trabajo de ellos es percibido más como separar las peleas y chequear las mochilas. Y las guardias de seguridad son percibidas como personas que pierden la paciencia bien fácilmente y rápidamente, y la seguridad también es percibida como siendo muy agresiva y contribuyendo a la tensión y a los problemas. A los estudiantes llaman a la seguridad, los comentan que faltan el respeto y usan malas palabras frecuentemente, y la percepción de la seguridad es que ellos tratan a los niños malos un poco más mejor para tomarlos un poco, para tener más control sobre ellos, y miran eso como algo que no es justo.
Reporting about suspicious and problematic activities was a topic that came up. And it said, despite having concerns about members of the safety team, students will report suspicious activities to students. At both sites that we had this conversation, people could rattle off people who they would go to quickly to say, there's a problem here. Now, they're likely to report threats of physical violence and fighting, and, not surprisingly, are not going to be talking about things like vaping in the hallways or in the restrooms, things like that, because we never did when I was in school. They express concerns about the school's commitment to helping students in crisis, including self-harm. They say we're not sure if they will step up. They may not have clear avenues or perceived permission to report other unsafe practices, such as erratic driving by bus drivers or people hanging around in corners around bus stops and things like that. They're not quite sure, is this the thing I can do? And I will mention this later.
También lo que reportan es que aunque ellos tienen preocupaciones sobre miembros del equipo de seguridad, los estudiantes no van a reportar las actividades sospechosas a los adultos. Estudiantes en los dos lados, ellos nombraron no menos de 10 individuos que ellos dicen que podrían reportar por actividades que ellos encuentran sospechosos. Los estudiantes son menos probables de reportar otras amenazas de violencia física como peleas, pero ellos son menos probables para reportar violaciones de otras maneras, como el fumar cigarrillos electrónicos o no ir a las clases. Los estudiantes también compartieron preocupaciones sobre el esfuerzo de la escuela para ayudar a los estudiantes en momentos de crisis, incluyendo el daño a la persona misma. Los estudiantes también no tienen avenidas para reportar otras prácticas que son tan inseguras como manejar erráticamente por los manejadores de los buses.
Where are the safe places in school? There are mixed assessments about where the safe places are in school. Many students appear to have, by the way, interpret this as emotionally safe places. The places are cited: counselor's office, specific teachers like Mr. Bond's room, Ms. Jasmine's room, homeroom, music room, gym, library. A few students say there are no safe places in the school and looked at friends, family, and home as their safe places.
Cuando le preguntaron a los estudiantes sobre lugares seguros en la escuela, hubieron declaraciones mixteadas en lo que ellos piensan que son lugares seguros en la escuela. Muchos de los estudiantes aparentemente interpretaron esta pregunta como un lugar emocionalmente seguro. Los lugares seguros que ellos dijeron es la oficina de la consejera, maestras específicas como el señor Bonds y la señora Jasmine, el cuarto principal de ellos, el cuarto de música, el gimnasio, la librería. La mayoría los otros estudiantes dijeron que no hay lugares seguros en las escuelas, y ellos miran a su familia y amigos y su casa propia para un lugar seguro.
Other places are, most students report they feel moderately safe when traveling to and from school. This isn't universal, and while in the building, but there are places and times when it particularly feels safe. Mornings feel safe. Passing between classes when they're organized feels safe. However, at times when they feel is a little bit less so, that's at the end of the school day and dismissals, walking home, especially along some streets. Students report there's no protocol in some, particularly this was the high school, for coming or leaving school. That's not surprising, there rarely is. Students report there is no clear process for reporting incidents of violence or problems to the school especially when problems seen in school can be reported. There is no avenue to report problems that occur off school property. We're told there's nothing we can do because it's outside the school.
La mayoría de los estudiantes reportan que ellos se sienten un poco nada más seguros cuando ellos van de la escuela hacia la casa o de regreso, o estando también en el edificio. Hay lugares y tiempos cuando ellos se sienten más seguros. Ellos se sienten más seguros en las mañanas o cuando ellos están pasando de clase a clase y son más organizados y seguros. Pero hay también veces donde ellos se sienten menos seguros, o ellos perciben que es menos seguros, y es al final del día cuando la escuela ya deja a los estudiantes ir, cuando están trabajando o están caminando hasta la casa, especialmente en ciertas calles. Los estudiantes reportan que no hay un protocolo cuando ellos están entrando o saliendo a las escuelas. Los estudiantes también reportan que no hay un proceso claro por cuando uno tiene que reportar incidentes de violencia o problemas a la escuela. Los estudiantes también reportan que cuando hay problemas en la escuela que pueden ser reportados, que no hay avenida para reportar estos problemas que ocurren fuera de la propiedad de la escuela. Le dicen a veces que no hay nada que pueden hacer porque pasó afuera de la escuela.
So, a few looming safety issues. They offer a very holistic issue that represents hazards at their schools. Weapons, guns, knives are deep concerns, with a sense that the knives are more prevalent than we acknowledge. Non-functioning water fountains, classrooms without windows, school enrollment being far over capacity at the 9th grade academy, vaping and smoking tobacco and weed, unaddressed self-harm and other mental issues, we've mentioned that already. Students are allowed to congregate or remain in hallways in some instances, understaffing both from over-enrollment and staff absences. Staff do not act professionally with each other or with students at all times, and poor personal choices in out-of-school activities. They're talking about their peers in terms of drinking and drugs and becoming involved in activities that are going to get them locked up. Sorry, put it away.
Los estudiantes dieron una lista de problemas que representan ciertos peligros en sus escuelas. Una de las cosas reportadas son las armas, las pistolas, los cuchillos. Es algo que ellos tienen están preocupados con eso, porque ellos piensan que no es tan conocido, que eso es un problema. Por ejemplo, otra cosa que ellos mencionaron es que no funcionan los lugares donde ellos pueden tomar agua. Los salones de clase no tienen ventanas. Los estudiantes, hay muchos en las escuelas y hay muchos estudiantes y no suficiente espacio. Eso es lo que dijeron en la academia del 9º grado. Están fumando tabaco y también la marihuana y también los cigarrillos electrónicos. Y también están diciendo que no hace suficiente para los estudiantes que están causándose daño a ellos mismos y están teniendo problemas mentales en su salud. Los estudiantes también son dejados congregar y siempre están en los pasillos. También dicen que no hay suficiente administraciones y que hay muchos estudiantes y también hay muchos maestros y administración que no llegan a la clase. Los maestros también no actúan profesionalmente con unos al otro y con los estudiantes, y también las decisiones de uno personal en las actividades afuera de la escuela, como tomar y hacer drogas.
Students believe there are things that they can do to care for peers, and talking about how do you reduce bullying very often. Stop gossiping, keep personal stuff to yourself, be willing to be supportive, keep monitoring your friends, know where you can help and where you need to refer people to an adult and who they might be respectful and expect respect in return. And they also say, teachers sometimes get in our way. They don't give you a chance to care. They feel like we should mind our own business because it becomes problematic if they think if we get involved, we don't get a chance to do that because they're rushing us to class.
Cuando ellos le preguntaron sobre tener cuidado uno con el mismo, los estudiantes dijeron unas estrategias que ellos usan para cuidar de sus compañeros de clase, y eso es no hacer más chismes y tomar las cosas o tener las cosas personales solo para uno, estar dispuesto de dar apoyo a otras personas, monitorear tus amigos y todos los problemas de salud que pueden tener, como el abuso de sustancias y la salud mental y la nutrición. Cuando pueden ayudar, la estrategia de ellos es saber cuándo y a quién los pueden referir, también a ser respetuoso y esperar el respeto de regreso. Los estudiantes dijeron unas cosas que ellos que los paran a ellos de tener ese mismo cuidado, y es que los maestros no le dan chance para tener ese cuidado, y los maestros también les dicen a ellos que deberían de no preocuparse de los problemas de los demás, y también no tienen oportunidad de hacerlo porque ellos siempre los están empujando para que vayan a su próxima clase.
I found this part particularly interesting. We asked, so how do you deal with violence and issues of safety in your school? The high school students say that they learned how to negotiate high school through their experiences at the 9th grade academy, just minding your own business. The typical approach for avoiding problems is to keep to oneself. You wear AirPods. You keep looking down. You try not to get involved. You block it out. You just have to watch out for yourself. The result is that students tend not to be overly involved. They believe that little positive change will happen.
Cuando le preguntaron a los estudiantes cuáles son las estrategias para ellos enfrentar esos problemas, los estudiantes reportaron que ellos han aprendido cómo negociar a la escuela de high school por sus experiencias en la escuela del 9º grado. Lo que dijeron es que ellos nada más se preocupan por ellos mismos. Lo que ellos hacen para no encontrarse problemas es que nada más se preocupan por ellos mismos. Ellos se ponen audífonos en los oídos, ellos miran para abajo, ellos tratan de no involucrarse, ellos bloquean todo el resto. Ellos dicen que solamente te tienes que cuidar a ti mismo, y el resultado es que los estudiantes regularmente no se involucran mucho, pensando que muy poco positivo va a pasar.
And so, my concluding thoughts. So there are clear challenges in attempting to provide a safe, secure, and supportive environment in which youth focus and can focus on learning. Students in the 9th grade academy appropriately struggle with finding their voice, defining the perspective, and grappling with what they see as inconsistencies and frankly outrages from their perspective. We shouldn't be surprised that students don't see a school safety team as encompassing more than a uniformed staff. That's probably a result of not acknowledging everyone in the school, including staff and students and janitors and food workers, that they have continuing roles, each of them in continuing safety and security. It is concerning that older students are less convinced that their perspectives and actions will make much of a difference. And while students may be unrealistic in wanting uniformed staff to be simultaneously caring and supportive, while maintaining absolute, unwavering, unbiased professionalism in their work, they raise important questions about how that work is erringly getting done. While daily screenings are important, everyone knows that that's only modestly effective and is a first line of defense. Intermittent, random, deep screenings would be the next step, but the costs psychologically, financially, and reputationally would be too severe. Students should be applauded for recognizing safety as larger than tamping down weapons and fighting, but rather address a full range of circumstances and behaviors that increase risk. Schools should consider ways for integrating the questions, the insights, and the idealism of youth by inviting them as regular participants in safety planning. I went too far ahead. I will roll back.
Estos son los pensamientos y reflexiones para concluir. Y hay problemas muy claros en haciendo el intento de proveer un lugar seguro y un espacio seguro y un lugar donde ellos se sientan, donde ellos pueden enfocarse en el aprender. Hay estudiantes en la clase de 9º grado que ellos tienen problemas con encontrar su voz y definiendo su perspectiva, y también teniendo problemas con lo que ellos miran que son inconsistencias y son cosas que ellos tienen un problema. Ellos no deberían de estar sorprendidos cuando los estudiantes no miran al equipo de seguridad de las escuelas teniendo más miembros más que los miembros uniformados, y eso es un resultado de no tener reconocimiento de todas las personas en las escuelas y los trabajos continuosos y asegurando que hay seguridad en las escuelas. También los problemas que ellos miran es que los estudiantes más mayores son menos convencidos de sus perspectivas y que sus acciones van a tener una diferencia. Otros pensamientos es que otros estudiantes tal vez son más, no son tan realísticos en queriendo que los trabajadores uniformados puedan tener el mismo cuidado y apoyo, al mismo tiempo tener el profesionalismo absoluto y sin prejuicios en su trabajo. Ellos también tienen preguntas importantes, que es el tratamiento bien frecuente que es inapropiado. Aunque los chequeos diarios son importantes, todos sabemos que no son tan efectuosamente y solo son un primer paso en parar estos problemas. Cosas más intensas como los chequeos más profundos serían los pasos más próximos, pero eso trae costos como costos psicológicos y la reputación de las escuelas y podrán ser más severas. Estudiantes deberían de ser aplaudidos por reconocer la seguridad y no solamente reconocidos solo por su trabajo en reconocer las armas y en las peleas, pero también en reconocer otras circunstancias y otros comportamientos que también tienen riesgos. Las escuelas siempre tendrían que considerar de las preguntas que tendrían que preguntar y la idea de la juventud y es que tendrían que invitarlos a ser partícipes regulares en el planeo de seguridad.
So that's it for me. I want to thank the gentleman here. I do want to make one more additional announcement. I mentioned I'm involved in something called Taste Trenton, and as a reward for you being here, I have a bunch of wristbands that you are free to go out and try restaurants in Trenton today and tomorrow. So see you.
Next portion, we hope that we have our students here. We're going to ask them to give us a 5-minute recap on the roundtables and their experiences so that you're hearing directly from the voices of the children. So I'm going to ask if they are here. It's going to be Adrian Alvarez, Miguel Estevez, Brianna Gomez, and Ronnie Jr. So in that order, if you can come up and just tell us what you thought of the roundtable, and if you can share some of the comments that we went over and your experience.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
My experience with the round table is that there's a lot of information. That there's a lot. That there's a lot of information that a lot of the students in the school districts here in Trenton do not have access to, and that most of the things that we're told are facts, because my personal experience going through the schools, Trenton Central High School and IGA, most of the stuff that we're talked to about here are facts. And I feel like more students and parents of the students should be aware of this information, because it will help a lot of people. And I know it will help myself and my peers that are here. And I think for my personal opinion and my scene of how I see things is that a lot of like you two said about the security guards, they don't really pay attention to a lot of what the students do. And in some schools like NGA, Trenton High School, they allow the students to leave the school and come back. and I think that that's it's a problem because you never know who's coming back inside the school. It could be someone armed, someone who has bad intentions with a student, or like a faculty member. And I feel like there will be more security in the schools to prevent that, or at least security that actually does something, not security that just sits around waiting for something to happen. You know, because there's a lot of kids there that can be in danger if nothing happens. So I feel like more this information should be passed on more to the not only the students but as well as the parents.
Is Miguel here? Yes. Okay. Maybe walk on this side, babe, so you don't have to step over the cords.
Morning. I am Cadet Private Esteves. From what I experienced from 9th grade academy and going to Trenton Central High School, it is I believe we for my peers and the people that work like security guards, teachers, I feel like it's good that the teachers are talking to us, trying to get to know us more. From gentleman there that said, I feel like that's good because, you know, you have to have a bond with the people you go to school with, the people you talk to. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. Another thing is that with the school system, letting us go out to school, getting food and all that, they gotta work on that because, you know, you don't know what they're gonna come back in with. I agree with the coffees, open bottles and all that because, you know, there's some kids that's not mature enough, they will go put alcohol or put stuff inside of the drinks to enter inside of the school. That's not really good because, you know, you're messing up your body and then you're also putting other people at risk and danger, also bringing in weapons that you're risking multiple innocent people. You can get hurt yourself too. You don't want to get hurt yourself. We do need a lot of for security. There's sometimes doors that the security will check your book bag 1, 2, 3 and let you in. They don't fully check it. They don't go into it and see if you got food in here or you got anything in there you're not supposed to bring inside the building or prohibited to bring in. I think that's all. Thank you.
Brianna?
Good morning. I'm Cadet Private Gomez. I'm in 10th grade. I go to Trenton Central High School. I'm going to talk about lockdowns. I think this is important because it's help us prepare for situation in the future when active shooters come in the building. Some kids in the hallways, like they don't be in class. That's something also that we should be working on in the school.
Thank you. And our last student, Ronnie, 2, okay. Let me come up and we'll get your comments as well.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Cadet Sergeant Ronnie Perez, and I attend currently to Capital City High School, but it was before known as Daylight Twilight. I interviewed several teachers and students in order to get points to share in this presentation. And one of the problems that we currently have in our installations are the number of people allowed in the bathroom at the same time. And also, our building in that we have taken class is really narrow, so when there are a lot of people in the bathroom and suddenly there's a fire drill or something and we need to move the students, and the hallways can get crowded easily, and that can lead to physical touch and one of the things that make the students feel unsafe on our buildings. One way that I think that we could potentially solve this is closing the bathrooms at time before the period ends, while in the transition between periods in the beginning of the next period. That's one way. The next issue that I found is that we currently don't have that much security guards for the amount of people that are in our school. In our school, we have almost 600 students and only 6 security guards. So I think that that's really unsafe. But let's say that anything happens and then the students get like crazy and they go running around. What the security guards are gonna do with all that movement and with a short staff? I think that that being a great safety issue when it comes to safety in our school. Lastly, I would like to end this presentation. Oh, sorry. I would like to end this presentation establishing that we will never be perfect when it comes to safety in the schools, but we have to try our best to ensure that we are always up ahead in the standards to ensure the safety of the students in our schools. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Cadet Captain Jamario Parker. I attend Trenton Central High School as a senior. Before I start my speech, I just want to appreciate everybody coming out this morning. I look around the room, I see a lot of like-minded people coming together to solve the issues in our community. As we look in the world right now, we see the terrifying things happening that could easily be one of us. For example, the Georgia school shooting that took place in Atlanta was nothing but horrific. Students should come to school expecting an education. Their safety should be at school's #1 priority. Who does that fall on, you might ask yourselves? Does it fall on the security inside the schools? Like my peer was saying, there are 600 students in his school and only 6 security guards. That doesn't add up, as we can tell. Does it fall on the parents checking the bags? Nobody really knows for certain, and I don't think that there should be anybody to blame but the students themselves. Personally, I believe that staff needs to pick up on signs of a kid who's going through something. Like bullying, as this gentleman was saying, that should be something that should be stopped early, because, as this other gentleman was saying, the coping. You never know what somebody is going through, you never know when somebody's at their pushing point, and that causes students to feel threatened at school when they should feel safe at school. It's no secret that our community allows children to be around guns early in their life. That's just Trenton. I'm not proud of it, but that is the way things are. Speaking off of Trenton in general, across America, guns have been a problem since forever, and they always will be. That is something that, I'm not a politician myself, but I do believe that we do need better laws for guns. That's just so simple. No student should be in the hands of a gun, at all. Now, some might argue with that statement and say, well, it is all right, but personally, our Second Amendment is not to be used in school, at all. Again, my name is Jamario Parker. Thank you.
Sorry about that. Apparently I'm stronger than I think I am. This is the part where we're going to get to public participation. If you have any questions in the audience that is relevant to what you've heard today, we do want to keep our discussion focused on the data that was presented, as well as what you've heard from the students. And we would like to get as many voices as would like to speak. Frank is going to translate if translation services are needed. I would just ask that if you have something that you would like to contribute, you step up to the microphone. We're going to ask you to limit your comments to 2 minutes That way, anyone who would like to speak after you has the time to express, their comments or concerns. And if you don't mind, we're gonna just make sure that we work in tandem, and we're gonna enforce the 2 minutes. But if you have something that you'd like to share, or if there's open mic comments from the audience, you can step up and feel free to make your voices heard.
En este momento queremos abrir el micrófono para algunas preguntas o comentarios de la audiencia. Yo voy a estar sirviendo como el intérprete. Les pedimos nada más que tomen sus comentarios y preguntas, el tiempo nada más de 2 minutos, y vamos a hacer el mejor esfuerzo para poder responder esas preguntas. Cualquier pregunta que usted tenga o comentario, por favor, solo póngase aquí enfrente del micrófono y ábrase el micrófono para que todos podamos escuchar la pregunta.
I can go first.
Yes.
All right. Good morning. I came a little bit late. I learned a little bit late about this meeting, but I listened to the students. And this is not happening just in Trenton. I think it's happening in a lot of districts nationwide. Unfortunately, the safety is not being a priority for some local politics. Unfortunately, the Department of Education is not taking serious the bullying. I don't think the authorities are doing enough to protect our students. And I believe every time when we have a gun shooting, or we have a situation going on, and then the meeting is started. And then everybody's talking, even politics talks. But that's it. 2 weeks later, everybody forgets about it. I think we need to be proactive. We need to protect our students. And I believe, I'm representing the local media. We own the two local radio stations here in Trenton, Spanish stations. And we're trying to educate our community. But this is a big issue. This is a big problem. We want to make sure the authorities, the Department of Education, and all the authorities involved, they need to be more proactive and protect the students. I would like to hear, what is the plan? Because the students know what the issue is inside of the schools. Is a financial plan to bring more protection, more security guards for the schools? There are money or any budget plan for more teachers or build new schools? What is the plan? And I would like to hear if there's any proactive budget plan for maybe enforce no phones in the district, no telephones, because one of the big issues on bullying is because they want to do viral videos. And that's the conversation the students have. All right, they have to be ready to record the video when the situation is going to happen. They know what's going to happen. They know exactly what's going to happen. So we need to know when they're going to be installing a weapons detector at the entrance of the school. So we don't want to end in these conversations just, oh, we have this great conversation, shaking, taking pictures, and that's it. We don't want that. We want to make sure these beautiful meetings are going to continue, but we're going to make sure the authorities and the people involved in the education and protection of our students, they're going to be acting, not talking. Thank you so much.
Thank you. What I can say, since you came a little bit late, we did have quite a few school board members that were here earlier this morning. I saw Dr. James Earl, who was the Trenton superintendent. Jenny Wheatley was here, Gerald Trueheart was here, Yolanda Moreno Lopez, who's the school board president, was in attendance, as well as City Councilwoman Yasmili Gonzalez. We are videotaping, and I represent just the focus group on school safety. We are independent of the Trenton School District, but we are going to do some transcribing. We will follow up, and you ask very important questions about serious matters that is outside of our jurisdiction. But along with Ms. Joyce Kersey, who's the co-vener and one of the founders of this organization, these are follow-up questions that we need to get into the hands of the board, those politicians, and the city council, because there is money, but the allocation flows through the district. So I just want to be clear about that. This is just more of a conversation. A lot of things will need to be followed up on, but our committee is focused on that, and we're focused on getting some answers and accountability, because we want every child to be safe. I know that it seems like a high bar, and also something that we should be able to take for granted, but we will follow up. Are there any other comments from the audience? Yes, sir. Please step up.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Carlos Avila, and I'm going to speak in the same context that the gentleman just spoke. I believe this is a great community meeting where we can talk about this big issue. But where is the parents? Where are the families that we have, young children over here in Trenton District? So my call is to see if it's possible. You guys have to make more socialize these kind of meetings. They invited them because they have the voice, they have the needs, they have the concerns to present over here, and then you can be on the same page. Otherwise, just stakeholders over here and talking about this is great, but not enough. Thank you very much.
Hi. My name is Yarisa Roldan, and I would like to call my daughter. Ruby, come on. My daughter was assaulted at Trenton Central High School back in 2022, and at the board, they're not doing enough to stop that, and we've been listening more cases. Also the road, last time what happened, I don't want to mention it because my son is here, but it's too much, and something has to be done. My daughter can speak what happened.
Whatever you want to share, sweetie.
Hi. My name is Ruby, and I got attacked in Trenton Central High School by 3 students that went there. I complained to the Board of Education. They didn't do anything, nor Mr. Stokes. I told them what happened. All he said it was just girls talk. I'm like, girls talk, like, are you serious? And when I got to the school, right, because I wanted to go back, learn stuff, because I missed 2 weeks of school because of so many threats that I got from those 3 girls and from a lot of students from the school. And Miss Patea that works there, or I don't know if she still is, she had promised my mom that she was gonna, what was it that she was gonna do?
She promised us that she was going to make sure that she was safe and her friend, because both of them were being attacked on social media. So it was a lot. I mean, they started ruling her before the attack and after the attack. And I'm going to say for a year after the attack. So that's why I reached out for the Marronquillo, Laura Mora, I don't know if she's here, and Diego Maya. So they help us out. I mean, we had to fight in a different way, those bullies, and it was only 3. 3 were the aggressors. I mean, 2 physically attacked her. 1 started everything, and I pressed charges. I mean, it wasn't easy. It was hard, but it was, finally, they did it. So, but it was like a year after the attack. So this is concerning because board, they said, yeah, we take all complaints, ¿cómo se dice? Seriously, yes, and they don't do anything. So I don't work, and that's the difference between other parents and me. I don't work, so I was able to be with her every step of the way. Now she is at Botech Technical Institute. She's learning, she's working with trucks. So and then she has, we've been doing a lot. So this is my way of, okay, you know what, those bullies, they thought that they had my daughter's life in their hands. I say, no, they didn't, you know, and I will continue fighting this stuff. It's not fair that kids want to take lives because bullying, and it's true that everything may not start at school, but school has the power to do something. I mean, they have to really call parents, which they didn't do with my daughter's case. They didn't call the aggessor's parents. They didn't do anything. So this is, I mean, it has to be taken seriously at this point. I'm glad that, you know, everything passed, but what about the kids?
I understand the other
Yes.
children.
Yes, so that's, and I'm sorry, Miss.
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for your bravery. Also, it sounds like you're such a great mom, you know, and doing what you need to do because, you know, everybody has to work together. That's really what our focus group is about. We have educators, we have community leaders, we have faith leaders, and we're all trying to step in the gap. There's a lot that is needed. And I appreciate you being the voice for others that can't speak, and your beautiful daughter, you know, just to be here and to share that information. We are striving to work within where we can, but a lot of things are gonna have to happen from the district level, and just like you did, pressing charges and following up with them and making them do their due diligence. I do wanna just let everyone know, Ms. Joyce gave me one of these. One of our handouts that's prepared today is for the parents. If someone is being harassed, intimidated, or bullied, there actually is a reporting form to start the process of filing a complaint, getting things on record, holding the schools accountable. Unfortunately, a lot of the accountability is going to be on the family to follow up, and thank God that you have the structure in place to do that and to get her situated somewhere where it's a better environment. You know, all children should be able to come to school and just learn and not have to worry about that unnecessary, you know, things that are happening.
Humans need not to forget that he was bullied to the school. They were bullied at the same time. And it's a long story where these kids, they were throwing desks all over the room, and they didn't want to remove them from the classroom. And I had to take both of them out of the school, and they do homeschool for the rest of the, I think for half year school. So it's, I have to mention this, but probably 3 business days before, after I removed him from school, the same kid that was bullying him in others, he got something that, I don't even know if it was a knife, but it was something to hurt the student, and the teacher caught it. And that's how, you know, it took a while for them, but they removed them from their classroom. So it's annoying why they had to wait so long, and they have to be removed from where they're supposed to be, you know, and it's insane. And one more thing is that since I've been doing all of this, they try to they give me a hard time. Board education give me a hard time with this education. I mean, it was kind of, if you go in and tell us, huh? Yes. So last school year was just tough for him. He has an IP, and they didn't want to provide the services. And I know they don't have the services in the school, but I asked them to remove him from school where he can have the services if they didn't. So this is how I just lost that word. But if I do something for the public, for the students, then they will try to get back at me with my kids. So that's not fair enough.
Retaliation.
Retaliation, yes.
I understand.
So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing and, you know, not falling on deaf ears.
Good morning. My name is Pastor Mark Broach, and let me just, if I may, first of all, your students are well-spoken, and I'm thankful to look upon young men and women that are doing I want to just say that, first, I believe that some of the biggest problems begin on social media.
Right.
I never knew that cyberbullying was so prevalent until I got involved about 1.5 years ago. A student had committed suicide because of being cyberbullied in Trenton. It was followed up with another young lady who was her friend. They put her obituary on social media, and she was yet alive. So cyberbullying is kind of crazy right now. The cyberbullying becomes physical. Once it starts, it's hard to stop. I've spoken, I have an open door policy with the superintendent. I spoke with the superintendent, he spoke with the mayor, they spoke with the police director, and it was halted because they had to get involved. But I think we have to do something that can happen in advance of it getting that far. I think that we need to perhaps survey a different population. There were 33 people surveyed, 28 responded. Most of the information probably could have been found with the 5 that did not. Somehow we have to hear what they have to say. We need to talk to the root of the problem, the kids that are causing it. I don't want the school co-parenting my child. I just don't want that. I want to do my part, but I also want the school to do their part. Let me conclude with this one thing. If you're a child that's being bullied, what comes along with being bullied is hopelessness and helplessness. And that's a bad state to be in. God bless you.
Thank you, Pastor. I don't know if anyone else had comments about any of the other data that was presented, or go ahead, sir.
Good morning. I'm the activist for 25 years in Trenton. For the last 4 years, I was going to school board, complained about this bullying situations. 2 years ago, this young man was 15 years old, being bullied. He got stabbed and got killed on Betty Street. Nothing be done. That kid was going down middle school. It was like a couple blocks from his house. He got, before the end of the school year, about 20 kids. It was all social media, like the gentleman said earlier. But there was nothing was done. Like a young lady over here, when she called me about that bullying, we went many times to Mr. Stokes, spoke about it. He said, oh, that's BS. 2 days later, the young lady got jumped. So the issue, they say, we would tell her we need security guards in Trenton High School and all the schools, and they're right. They got money. This shit gonna receive $504 million for the school budget. But 33% they're using for administrative work. 33%, yes. You can go on their website. So the way to use the money is just for superintendent, assistant, secretaries, phone, all kind of stuff. But I think for each dollar they receive, maybe 7% going to the school. The rest is administrated on buildings and maintenance or whatever. And they always tell us, oh, we're gonna have more security guards. That's the only thing they tell us anytime we go complain, we need more security guards. Oh yeah, it's in the plan, it's in the agenda, there's nothing being done. It's worse and worse. So my suggestion is this. Like the gentleman said, let's find out the root was the issue. The issue is the administrator. We should have asked Mr. James to resign his position, because this is nothing new. This is nothing new. What they say is true. We know about it because our kids went to school and told us this is going on. We tell them, oh no, my school is good. My school is good. The numbers going up. Yeah, my numbers going up. How you make the numbers going up when there's a lot of violence? 4% now feel safe. It's a lot. It's a lot of kids. You know, so with that data that just gives us today, I'm glad I was able to make it, so I can use that against the board and ask the superintendent to resign his position. He don't care.
Wow.
He just get paid. He just get paid, take his money, go home. Even the school president, board member, we can tell about the bullying. Oh, don't worry, we're gonna investigate. Don't mention, we're gonna investigate. When? You wanna lose more lives? You wanna lose more kids suicidals? You wanna another kid get killed? Or like John right here said, the security guards, let everybody in and out. 2 years ago, security guard was a member of gang member. And kid was getting jumped, and she was not involved because she can be retaliated because she was a gang member. And I got the video because they posted. Like John right here, they posted everything in social media, especially in X, it used to be called Twitter. You just put Trenton bullying or fights, you see every single day how many kids get jumped. We go to school and they do nothing about it. It's a shame the security guard allowed the kids 10 minutes to go fight. So we paid them then for what? To bully our kids in school? So they're not protecting our kids. So I hold accountable Mr. James. He should give fire or resign his position. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments. I'm going to say, and I'm sure you're doing it, a lot of those board meetings are open to the public, and I know it's a long and tedious process to show up, to have your voices heard, to do petitions, but a lot of times you have to push people to do the right thing. And I would encourage the activism, because as parents and community, we can't afford to sit back. We have to be at those places where decisions are being made, when they're appropriating money, when they're talking about security, and it takes a lot of work and the collective work of the community. But I admire everyone who's here, from the parents, or if you're like me, I'm an auntie, but I care very deeply because all of our children have the right, they should have the right to be safe. And you know, our systems in a lot of ways are failing them, but that's why we're trying to stand up to relate this information. We will be getting information to the board, and I just encourage you to stay active and to, you know, if we slack, if we're quiet, as bad as it is, it can get worse if you're not vocal.
So again, my name is Jamario Parker. 2 years ago, my sophomore year, I experienced, well, it was a regular school day, and then we got told from social media, because again, social media is a big problem in schools, there was a student who had an AK and a bag of ammunition in his hands in school. There is no way he was in the hallway, posting around on his phone, rapper, whatever you want to call him. That is so dangerous, and when I found out about it, it was the fact, like, you never know what's going to happen. And it's kind of like, stop it early. The fact that a student was able to go into the school with a bag of ammunition and an AK, that is just crazy to me. So again, that is why, I'm glad to hear people in this room today talking about it, because those are problems in our school. Personally, as a student, that is what we are experiencing in the schools. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to conclude at this moment. I'm going to ask Pastor Jose if he can give us some closing comments. Again, I do want to thank our junior ROTC members, the students who spoke, and just a quick shout out, I want to recognize Reverend Armstrong, who was here, Reverend Ethan Evans, who is a focus group community member, Reverend Mark Broach, my own mother, Reverend Barbara Brewer, and those who came out in support. And also to Frank, you know, gracias por ayudarnos with the translations.
Well, good morning. It's still 11:59. I want to acknowledge my colleagues in the gospel, Pastor Broach, Pastor Brewer, Pastor Armstrong, who was here. I think in order to make change, it takes all of us.
Right.
It takes all of us to make this change. And I think that pointing the finger is not going to solve anything.
No.
We need results, right? We need to take action The Bible says that faith without works is dead. And so we need to unite. We need more of these forums, right? We need more of these forums. And I wanted to answer the question that Carlos Avila had mentioned, that, you know, where are the parents? Well, we put it out on social media, right? We've asked the parents to come. We put it in English and Spanish. We've ourselves, the Rodriguez Family Foundation, is working even with the Haitian community. And I would acknowledge Damien Malavé, who is my vice president, was here. Jay, who's working with us with the foundation. Jay comes to us from Washington, D.C., was born in Trenton, out of the White House. And so we're going to put him to work. I want to thank Frank also for his efforts. Frank is a youth pastor. His wife, Marina, works, who's back there. Marina, say hello. They work with our youth. I wanna thank the youth for coming out. This is so important for us. Bullying is a real issue, and it's not like it used to be when we were kids. Right now, it follows you. Like Pastor Broach said, it follows you. It's on the phone. You can't get away from it. So we wanna be part of the solution. And I want to thank Joyce, because Joyce really spearheaded this. And so this is just, I believe, the first of many. I really want to say thank you. Thank you. And if you have any suggestions are welcomed. We need all the help we can get. So with that, I want to say thank you. I hope you found the room and the church accommodating. And I look forward to another meeting with the community. Thank you so much. If you could just stand with me. This is my church, my rules. So would you please stand with me, and I want to just say a prayer. I want to pray for this beautiful family that's here. I want to pray for our children. And so, Lord, we thank you for your goodness, your kindness, your mercy, and your grace, Lord. Lord, we are flesh and blood. We are imperfect, Lord, but we serve a perfect God.
Yes, we do.
I ask you, Lord, to send your hand of protection over our children and give us the right mindset, Lord, that we may touch this community. That it doesn't matter what color we are, what language we speak, what religion, Lord, we want to be able to be our brother's keeper. Yes. And so, Lord, I pray for the leadership that is here, Lord, that you will give us the wisdom, the knowledge, and the understanding on how to move forward, Lord. Because without you, it is in vain, Lord. We can do nothing without you, Lord. We thank you for what you're going to do, Father God. We believe you for it. And so we ask you to bless this day and bless all of us in this room. In the matchless name of Jesus Christ, I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you for coming. Amen.